We ain't going to waste no time. We're going to go right into the next lesson, Ecclesiastes 3. Because there's so much to be taught. Sometimes we do more than one lesson just to get a couple of messages out. Because there's a lot to be taught. You got a big Bible here. That's why it's a shame that you got preachers that's going to go to, tomorrow we're going to be there and read a half a verse. Some of them read a verse. Even if they read 2 verses, they still lying the rest of the time. The verses say what it say, but they talking up a storm. So we know it's so much to be taught, and that's what preaching is, it's teaching. So we try to do the best we can. So we're going to talk briefly about how short time is. So that's the title, Time is Short, Get Your House in Order. And that's what we all need to keep in mind. And for the people that's not on the path to eternal life, that's not walking with the Lord, they need to understand they need to get there quick. Because time is not promised forever. We see all around us how short life is. We see that all around us. Even if you got to be up in age just a little bit, you see how quick that went by. It seemed like just yesterday was 20, 30 years ago. And it seemed like now time just moving so fast. I heard a sister say recently, she said, it seemed like it's not even 24 hours in a day, more like 12. And that's the way it seemed to me. It would just be. I know I'm getting old, but I don't know. I think the Lord doing something too. Because time is moving. But either way, we know that people come on this earth for a short time and then they gone. So we ain't got no time to be messing around and playing. That's the title. Time is short. Get your house in order. Ecclesiastes 3, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. See, sometimes we live like the brother sing the one rap song. I can't think of his name. But he sang with this other, Bulletproof. Divine. And that's how we be living. He said, you living like you bulletproof. Yeah, y'all know. His name is Ludacris, sing with him, but the other guy made it. I said Devon or whatever his name is. Rakeem Devon. Okay. See, I knew some of the young people would know for sure. But that's what he's singing, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. Hey, you living like you ain't worried about dying tomorrow. And people dying every day. Yep. So we need to be aware of that and make sure that we get our house in order with God. Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 1. Go ahead.
To everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven.
See, it's a time for everything. See, and when you're young, it's easy for you to live like you bulletproof. Because your mind ain't even developed. You know, it's just like a baby, for instance. You have a baby don't have enough sense. So even a lot of teenagers, even around here, you don't have enough sense yet. You don't know how quick it's going to go or how easy it can be gone.
Yeah.
You don't realize that. Just like a baby don't know. A baby will put his hand in some fire. It look beautiful. It's colorful. He said, ooh, that look nice. So he won't know. He will stick his hand in there, but he will find out in a hurry, won't he? That he is not fireproof. So he will learn that the hard way. Mm-hmm. But we need to stop learning stuff the hard way. Yeah. See, it's understandable for a baby, but when you get up in a little age, all you got to do is ask somebody. You know they have the old saying, just ask somebody. You better ask somebody. So now, he says a time for everything, a time to every purpose under heaven. So what is it? Verse 2.
A time to be born, a time to die.
See, we don't want to think about the latter part of that, do we?
No.
You know, people praising God and thanking God when a baby is born, be at the hospital so happy a baby is born, but just by the same token, it's a time to die, right? Go ahead.
A time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted.
See, it's a time for everything. And that time come real quick. That's why the title is Time is Short. Now let's look at a quick example. Go to Isaiah 38. It's just like we got a lot of Hebrews, Israelites finding out that they Israel, but like I like to say, we waking up, but a lot of Israelites waking up on the wrong side of the bed. And it's not enough time to be talking about a whole lot of foolishness. It's time to get our act together, because that's the problem. We talk about a whole lot of stuff. I hear Hebrews and even some Muslim brothers, they always talking about the Gentile. If they not talking about what the Gentiles have done wrong, they talking about what we need to do to combat the enemy. What we need to do to combat. I mean, you've been hearing that for years from Muslims and old school Israelites. What we need to do. You know, we need to get together. We got to come together. Look, you ain't did nothing yet. Ain't did nothing. Even you got brothers, you know, now you got some new Black Panthers. They killed all the old ones. You know that, right? But you got some new Black Panthers. But again, they recognize it's a problem, but they not finding the solution. You ain't got no chance when the Lord then put the world in the hand of the Gentiles. What you gonna do with a few rifles? No. You ain't gonna do nothing. You fooling yourself. You know, just like even Farrakhan, he said he was talking about trying to tell Obama he better not do nothing to Gaddafi. You know, you had brothers posting that stuff up. Yeah, America getting warned. Look, America still got all the weapons right now. Do whatever they want to do. And they've been showing they would do what they want to do. Yes, sir. And they still doing it because the Most High still got the world in their hand. But anyway, the bottom line is that's not the answer to our problem. We don't have time to even worry about all that. God is controlling that. He done put the world in the hand of the Gentiles. He said it's going to be Nebuchadnezzar, his son, and his son's son until the times of the Gentile is up. And anybody that's in control of running something that don't want to let it go, they're going to run it to the last hour. And that's what the Gentiles going to do. So I marveled when I saw Farrakhan saying, brother, I'm warning you. He talking to Obama. Brother, I believe that might have been part of the reason they just went on and stopped bombing his butt. He's, brother, I'm warning you. You better be careful what you do to my brother Gaddafi. They done already killed a man's son and his grandkids. And if he don't keep ducking, they going to get him. They showed you they don't care. You see what they did to the other guy, Hussein? They told him, look, get out of town in 48 hours or we coming to get you. This boy was hiding in a hole. And then since they couldn't kill him, since he gave up in front of them, they couldn't kill him, they had have his own people kill him, hang him. So that shows you who in control. But that ain't the answer to our problem. The answer to our problem is keeping God's commandments. That's right. That's what got you in trouble in the first place. None of this other organization didn't get you in trouble. Not being organized or not fighting for civil rights. That didn't get you in trouble. Disobedience to the Most High God's commandments got us in trouble. That's where we got off track at. So obviously when he's saying Deuteronomy 30, the solution is to turn back and start keeping his commandments. He gonna change everything else. He gonna bring the Gentiles down in due time. But I'm just saying we don't have time to be worried about stuff that we don't have no control over. Isaiah 38. See, and you realize that when you up against the wall, you got to realize what's important. Hezekiah got to a point, he knew what was important. Isaiah 38:1. Go ahead.
In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death.
See, he was sick unto death. Well, we know it's a time to be born and a time to die, right? It's coming for all of us, right? Well, it was coming for Hezekiah. And he was a righteous king. He did good. But he still was going to die. No matter how good you be, guess what? You still going to die. It's coming for you. In those days, Hezekiah was sick unto death. Go ahead.
And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
See, now the Lord gave him a warning. He got sick. So quite naturally, you want to know, you got a prophet around, you want to know if you're going to get better or what's going to happen. And the prophet gave him the bad news, didn't he? Yep. This got to be worse than the doctor's bad news. Because you know when the prophet, if you believe in the God and the prophet come tell you, you know it's for real, right? So the prophet told him, he said, thus said, this is what God said, Hezekiah, get your house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Now this is the title of the lesson. Time is short. Get your house in order. But Hezekiah, he had his spiritual house in order. He was a servant of God. That's why he's going to get some more time right here. But I'm talking about get your spiritual house in order. So you be ready when that time comes. And it don't slip up on you. See, he was telling Hezekiah to get his affairs in order because you're going to die and you're not going to recover. You're not going to live. Verse 2, though.
Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord.
See, he didn't even get mad and curse Isaiah out. Get out of here. I don't want to hear that. Or he didn't even say like some people, I ain't going to claim it. He didn't say that. I ain't claiming it. But he did what he could do. He started seeking the Lord. He didn't raise his voice or nothing. He didn't start, I ain't claiming it. Look, see, you ain't got to go through all that. This man quietly said, okay, thanks for the message, Isaiah. When Isaiah left, he turned to that wall and said, Lord, come on now, hold on. Go ahead, let's see what he said. He said he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord. See, that's where your prayer should be done, between you and the Lord. That's who you seeking. I ain't got to scream and holler in front of y'all. Go ahead, verse 3.
And said, remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore.
And he started crying. But the good news for him is he had a resume he could fall back on. See, he was doing God's will. He was a servant of God. Now you get some bad news and you ain't never been serving God. You in trouble. You ain't got nothing to fall back on. You can't say, well, I've been keeping your commandments, Lord. No, you probably sick because you've been eating pork all your life. Somebody told you it was unclean, you shouldn't eat. You kept on eating it. Now, like I told a brother on my job, I was driving a truck. I got to preach to him one day telling him pork was unclean and he shouldn't eat it. And he started mocking me after that. You know, he called himself mocking me. He was playing with himself. You know, I see him later passing him on the dock and we getting in our trucks, getting ready to drive off. He said, yeah, I'm going to get me some bacon for breakfast this morning. What you going to eat? I said, man, you think you funny. Go on here. Later on, yeah, I'm going to get me some pork later on. Because I didn't preach to him and told him pork was unclean. But he playing with himself. You know what happened a few years later, a couple of years down the road? I ain't thinking about it. Boy had a stroke. Yeah. So, but he thought he was mocking me. Look, I read it to him out the Bible. But anyway, Hezekiah, he had some truth to fall back on. He had a resume. He said, oh Lord, I remember now I've been keeping your word. I walked before you in truth with a perfect heart and done that which is good in your sight. And he just started crying. Before Isaiah can get off the premises, it shows you the Lord is on the spot. Go ahead, verse 4.
Then came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying.
See, Isaiah wasn't gone good. He had left the building. He was still on the premises, though. He was in the courtyard. Go ahead.
Go and say to Hezekiah, thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years.
See? Now this shows you how time is short. He was told Hezekiah, your time was up, mister. But Hezekiah got him some more time because he was obedient servant and he prayed and asked the Lord. See, you always can seek the Lord for whatever it is. But you have to accept whatever the answer is. So Hezekiah got a good response. He got him 15 more years. Now, to you, if somebody tell you right now you got 15 more years, that probably not seem like a lot of time. But to somebody that know they on their deathbed, that seemed pretty good. Hezekiah gladly took that, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
But see, some of us here might not even have that. But he was happy to have that. But now let's go further. Go to Ecclesiastes 12. Back to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 12. So he got him some more time because he was a true servant of God. And when he prayed, the Lord heard him and gave him a good answer. Ecclesiastes 12. But that's because he had his spiritual house in order. He was able to do that. But if you don't have your spiritual house in order, you better get it in order because time is ticking. Ecclesiastes 12:1.
Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw not, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure
Now you see what he said? He said, remember your Creator in the days of your youth. In other words, don't wait till it's too late. See, Hezekiah, he did that. He remembered his Creator before it got to his deathbed. See, you don't want to wait till your deathbed, then all of a sudden start calling on the Lord. Because it could be too late, right?
Yep.
And you could be there before you know it. So he warning you here, Solomon is, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, while the evil days come not, before it get to that point. Nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure. What time is he talking about? When you're getting ready to die. Skip down to verse 7, he's going to tell you.
Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it.
See, that's what happened. Man lived so long and then he died and go back to the dust. He don't go to heaven. It said the spirit going to return to God who gave it. That's just the breath that gave you life. God gave it to you, breathed in your nostril when you was born, and when it's time for you to die, God take that spirit back to himself. And you go back to the dust. Nowhere else. But now, go to Ephesians 5, to the New Testament. Ephesians 5. See, when we're young, we don't think about death. We think we're going to live forever, it seems like, and do some of the craziest things. That's because you ain't fully developed in the mind. Yeah. You ain't got enough sense to know that it can be over just like that. Ephesians 5:14. Read that.
Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee life.
Now he said, awake thou that sleepest. He's talking about spiritual sleep. In other words, he's saying what I'm saying, get your house in order. Time is ticking. Time is short. You need to get your house in order. So he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead. Because that's what we are. If we're not serving the Lord, fearing God, and keeping his commandments, we are the living dead. We walking dead. Jesus told you that in Matthew 8. He told one man, he said, let me go back and bury my father. The man said, Jesus said, let the dead bury their dead. That means you had some living dead, spiritual dead, that had to bury a physical dead man. So that's why he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee life. You got to get your act together pertaining to God. Find out what he wants to start doing. And it's all in the Bible, keeping his commandments. Go ahead, 15.
See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
See, when you find out what God wants, you got to walk that way. Not walking as fools, but as wise, doing what?
Redeeming the time.
Redeeming the time.
Are evil.
Redeeming the time, he said. You got to take advantage of the time you got, brothers and sisters. We all know it ain't going to last forever. We try to put that out in the back of our mind on the back burner. Look, it can be over tomorrow. It don't even have to get to tomorrow. I'm being liberal. But tomorrow is real close. He said, redeeming the time because the days are, we know we living in evil days. It's so many ways that you can be taken away from here real soon. God got a whole pick of ways he could just remove you easy. That shows you how awesome and terrible God is. He can take you out any kind of way. It can be real dramatic. It can be real simple. He can take you away from here, just like that. That's why the Bible talk about fearing God. He got your life in his hands. But now, James, the 4th chapter. So he said, redeeming the time. That means taking advantage of the time that you got left. Don't wait till it's too late. Because you won't know it's too late till you wake up on the wrong side of the fence. That's going to be the bad thing about it. You'll be here today, gone tomorrow, standing before the Lord, before you know it, saying, what happened? You didn't do what he said there. He said, redeeming the time. James 4:13. Let's see what James said about it. James 4:13. These are two basic lessons. 4:13. Go ahead.
Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain.
See, you can't even be pompous about what you're going to do in the future. That's why I try not to never say that. I try to say what he say here because I know how it makes sense to say what he said here because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. He said, now, for those of you that's kind of proud and that's just talking real lofty about what we going to do the next day or the next day after that or the next year, what we going to do, he said, I got something for you. Verse 14.
Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow.
He said, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So don't be so proud about what you going to do. Even as a congregation, we trying to spread the word. We try not to say, well, see, next year we're going to do this. Then we're going to be on TV over here. We're going to do this. We try to say if the Lord allow or if it be the Lord's will. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow for what?
For what is your life?
He said, what is your life? What is your life? Go ahead.
It is even a vapor.
Isn't that something? Your life is a vapor. That's all our life. It's a vapor. Go ahead.
That appeareth for a little time and then vanishes away.
Just that quick, huh? That's all our life. The oldest person in here is still a vapor. And he said, it appeared for a little time and then vanished away. Hey, the record is clear. We see that that's the way of this world. Everybody before us that have came, we here because of the people that came before us, right? We all were born from parents. And they had parents where everybody keep coming as a vapor and they disappear, don't they? And guess what? Now it's your turn. So it's no reason for us to think we different. You know, when I was young, I always thought people told me I was doing bad stuff. I was doing this. I always thought some kind of way I was different. I did.
Yeah.
No, it ain't like that. It ain't going to happen that way with me. I was a fool. The Lord just had mercy, but I was a fool.
That's right.
To think that I was going to be different from anybody else and that what's happened to people around me couldn't happen to me. So that's what he said here. He said, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeared for a little time, just a little time, and then vanished away. Verse 15.
For that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that.
See, he said that's what you keep in mind. Don't even talk proud. Don't even talk too proud because it could be over before you know it. Mm-hmm. Time is short. Get your house in order. Job 14. Job 14. Job 14. Job 14. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Y'all might get a break. We might get out of here a little early today. 2 lessons for the price of 1. Job 14 and verse 1. No, I got a little extra though. Don't worry about it. 14 and 1. Let's see what the prophet Job knew about time being short. So you need to get it together, brothers and sisters. 14 and 1. Go ahead. 14 and verse 14. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1.
Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble.
Job knew it, didn't he? Time is short, right? He said, man that is born a woman is a few days and full of trouble. That's the old saying that people got. That's what happened when Adam sinned. This when all this got instituted. Mm-hmm. That's what people say. Life is hard. They use another word I can't use up here. They say life is hard and then you die. Mm-hmm. But that's what Job was saying. Man that is born a woman is a few days and full of trouble. Go ahead, verse 2.
He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down.
Uh-huh.
He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not.
See, it's a beautiful thing when the child is born and start growing. You know, it's like the springtime or flower blooming, right? The child is born. Come forth like a flower. How beautiful. Mm-hmm. But then James already told us your life. What is your life? It's a vapor. Here today, gone tomorrow. He said, coming forth like a flower, and it's all of a sudden, right away, cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth. Now, you ever notice you can see your shadow all of a sudden it disappear? You be like, where'd the shadow go? You can be, kids like to do that stuff. They like, watch, I see my shadow. The shadow be gone before you know it. But that's what he's saying. That's how life is. Skip down to verse 10 and read that.
But man dieth and wasteth away.
That's what he do. Man dieth and wasteth away. Go ahead.
Yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he?
See, give up the spirit of life that God put in your nose, and where is he? You don't see him no more. You don't have no more dealings with him. You be sad at the beginning. We lose loved ones all the time. You be sad and you miss them, but you don't have no choice but to get on with life, do you? And you gradually forget about it. You don't totally forget about people who you've known who have died, but you gradually forget because you have to move on.
Yeah.
And they have gave up the ghost, and they are nowhere to be found. You'll never see them on this side of the sun no more. You have to wait till after the resurrection. But now, John 7. Go to John. This is what I was talking about earlier, where Jesus' own brothers, when he said brother will deliver up the brother, well, they act like they wanted to deliver him up right here.
Yep.
He didn't even trust them because he was preaching the truth, and they was still going along with the crowd. They were still going along with the religious leaders, trying to mock Jesus a little bit. John 7. Some of his brothers came around later, but they were still acting crazy. Here, 7 and 1.
After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him.
See, he avoided Jerusalem. That's Jewry. He avoided Jerusalem, and he hung out where he grew up at in Galilee, because they was trying to have his head. They had already chopped John the Baptist's head off. See, that's what I'm saying. We got a lot of Israelites talking a lot of stuff, talking about what we going to do. Look, the Lord going to have Israel run the world. But it's a lot going to happen in between now and Israel running the world. That's what you need to be concerned with. It's a lot going to happen between now and then. And some of the big stuff that's going to happen is a lot of servants going to get killed all over again. The more this truth get out here. A lot of servants going to die. People say, well, we need to be ready to fight. Look, you can't fight God. If God going to let somebody kill you, John the Baptist, they came and executioner went and chopped his head off. You think he was trying to fight, worried about that? No, John the Baptist had enough faith to say, look, I'm going to wait on the resurrection. Then I'm going to be judging the one chopping my head off. And he will be. So that's what happened to him. And now they was trying to kill Jesus. So Jesus avoided them. He avoided them. He hung out in Galilee, it said. But now, the feast came when you supposed to go to Jerusalem. They was in the land, so they was doing what the law said. Verse 2.
Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand.
Now they called the Jews, but we know ultimately it's the Lord's. He gave it to Israel, which Jewish just became short for, because everybody else was in slavery. Mm-hmm. But it's the Lord's feast of tabernacles. That's who it really belonged to. But go ahead, verse 3.
His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go up into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the work that thou doest.
See, now this is our own flesh and blood brothers again. The ones that he said, who is my mother and my brother? The ones that do the will of my father. So they might have been trying to strike back at him. So they telling him, look, go on up. They know the people trying to kill him. They kind of mocking him a little bit. They mocking him. They know the people trying to kill him. They said, man, why you don't go on up to Jerusalem? You doing all this stuff. You doing all this stuff, you and your disciples. In other words, they said, why you hiding out, man? Go ahead.
Verse 4. For there is no man that doeth anything in secrets, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world.
See, they said, well, you doing all this stuff, seem like you want to be known. So in other words, why you hiding out in secret now? They trying to be funny. But he going to tell them about themselves. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For neither did his brethren believe in him.
See, they didn't believe in him. Some of them believed later. They came around. But they didn't believe in him here, did they? This is flesh and blood brothers. Neither did his brethren believe in him. See, sometimes Rome try to say when it say Jesus' mother and his brother, it's talking spiritual. Now, we see the difference between his spiritual mother and brother and physical ones, right? We see the difference because his spiritual brethren believed in him. Peter and them believed in him. But neither did his brethren believe in him. Verse 6, what did he say?
Then Jesus said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready.
See, you see what Jesus told them? They want to be funny. They want to mock him about going up when the people are trying to kill him. He told them point blank, he said, look, I know when my time is. My time has not come. He said, but your time, keep talking. Your time is always ready. Your time is any time. And that's how it is for us. We don't know when our time is up, do we? We don't know when it. It could be suddenly out the blue. You could have a long illness and get sick, and it could take some time, but it could be instantly, can't it? You don't know, do you? Just like he said here, but your time is always ready. What time he talking about? He talking about your time being up the end of your life. Yeah. That's why the title is Time is Short. Get your house in order. One more scripture. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes 9. We're going to read a couple of verses and that'll be it. 9 and verse 3. Ecclesiastes 9, and we're going to start at verse 3. Okay, go ahead.
This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, that there is one event unto all. Yea, also the hearts of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. And after that, they go to the dead. See, he talking about death. He talking about your time being up. What he say? This is an evil. See, it's amazing. You go to funerals nowadays, except the ones that we do. You go to most of these other funerals, they have people lying and making it like it's a homegoing. You hear that all the time. Oh, this is a homegoing for some, and they're gonna make it a happy occasion. People don't know whether to cry or shout. They don't know what. They so confused. They don't know what to do. They be crying one minute, then they be beating the tambourine the next. They confused. You cannot put a pretty spin on death, brothers and sisters. Nope. Death is death. It wasn't meant to be pretty at all. It wasn't meant to be nice. I don't want to die if I can avoid it. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't going to shoot. That show you when you're young, you don't know no better. When I was new in the word, I used to talk crazy myself. Oh, I'm ready to die. I'm ready. Nah, I take that back, Lord. I ain't ready. I didn't know what I was saying. I want to make it all the way if possible. But whatever the Lord's will is, I'm content with that. But I'm just saying, death is not nice. It wasn't meant to be nice or pretty. So he said, this is an evil among all things that are done under the sun. That is one event unto all. No matter how good, you need to strive to be righteous because that's going to benefit you later on after death in the resurrection. But no matter how righteous you are, you still going to die. Because that's the way since Adam sinned. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live, and after that they go to the dead. See, we all got a little madness in our heart. But everybody go to the dead. Only one escape that is Enoch, and a handful of people going to make it where they're going to be living when the Lord returns, but that's only a minute compared to all the people that have died. After that, they go to the dead. Now skip down to verse 12, and this is the last verse. Go ahead. For man also knoweth not his time.
See, you don't know your time. That's the title of the lesson. Time is short. Time is short. We saw that. Paul said in Ephesians, redeem the time. So time is short, and then to make it even worse, you don't know when it's going to end. You don't even know. You don't have a clue. For man also knoweth not his time. What happened?
As the fishes that are taken in an evil net,
Uh-huh.
and as the birds that are caught in the snare,
Uh-huh.
so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them.
See, he said just like fish. A fish swimming around, it's a beautiful day to the fish. All of a sudden, somebody swoop him up and eating him that night for dinner. He didn't have a clue. But he's saying man is no different. See, man do the swooping on the fish. And the birds, he might shoot a bird down. He do that, but man get caught in the same net, don't he? He said, for man don't know his time. Just like the fish don't know, the birds don't know, man don't know. All of a sudden it come upon him in an evil time, and it could fall suddenly upon him. So I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name.